Hello, welcome back to this video. As always, use your own discernment, join with intention, and allow the messages to be received with an open heart. A quantum reminder, we are speaking through symbol and story here. Please do not rely on tarot readings for factual evidence. You are always encouraged to do your own research, especially when engaging with strangers on the internet. Now, I just finished that reading and I went to collect the cards together, and they don't usually do this, but they all clung, and I said, I'm gonna put the camera back on. So this continued. Okay, so this is gonna be a message for the 444 collective. I'm understanding that the push or the drag or the forcing that was coming out near the end of that reading is that this isn't a open for everyone reading. This is a quieter conversation. For you, what I've been talking about this morning in some way is clicking, is resonating. For some reason, I'm getting the note that it's specifically the timeline that's resonating. So perhaps you already had something that was going to be leading you to fall 2026. Something that you're just starting to not even put your efforts or energy towards, but starting to consider, starting to dream, starting to be inspired. I just caught a lot of my tattoos are in the readings today for some reason. But this one caught my eye. It's never too late to be what you might have been. And as I'll pack this away, interesting story about this tattoo and quote. I found this quote somewhere on the internet over a decade ago, because I've had it for around 10 years. And it was a quote by an author named George Eliot, who I later found out was a woman writer and used a male pen name to get published. George Eliot was writing in late 1800s, I believe. Don't quote me. I haven't really read anything by them, but this was a quote that I just found maybe like drifting along Tumblr 15, 20 years. I don't know, time, right? A while before I had it. It was a rumbling that had been maneuvering itself in my subconscious. And so I get the tattoo, la-di-da, love it. And years go by, and how do I want to say this? Not about these cards. Okay. Years go by, and Six of Stones. From the Six of Wands to the Six of Stones. Okay. So this is coming after the conflict. It's in the, not yet the conclusion, but it's between the conflict and the magical occurrence. There's a gentler pace here. There's a rebuilding right now. These are all over the place, but I didn't even know I was going to record today because the energy is just very much. But I digress. Anyway, I get this tattoo, time goes by, and I'm looking up and being like, who is George Eliot anyway? I keep getting tattoos of artists on my body and I don't know much about them. I looked up this quote, it's never too late to be what you might have been, and I found an interesting, peculiar, potentially like Mandela effect, you could say, from the 1800s. There are a number of people at the time that George was still publishing, I believe. This timeline, I'm gonna get wrong. Anyway, there was a newspaper in early 1900s, I believe, that was asking people to write in their favorite George Eliot quotes. And a number of people wrote in, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." And the thing is, that was never in any of George Eliot's writing. She didn't write that. And the lore of, nobody knows who wrote that. The only trace that we have connecting this to George Eliot is that one newspaper article from over 100 years ago of multiple people saying this was written by Eliot. And so finding that out after I had put that on my body, I'm like, well, it's kind of interesting that this quote caught my eye as this flame is doubling in my eye. And it's supposedly something that never happened. As we just hit 6 minutes. As Two of Branches. As magical people, there really is death again. There really is something about them telling us and then this was the very first card in the last reading, Three of Stones. There's something about them telling us what is that magical that I was just about to say? I lost track, but I'll digress and it may return. This Two of Branches with this divine masculine heading into death, coming down into the catacombs. It's what we want to create before we even get started is going to completely change. Scorpionic energy, yes, but this is bringing us back down into our shadow selves. This Seven of Spires, Seven of Swords, which is what came up for me in readings a lot over the last year, as the Seven of Swords is known for like manipulation and deceit. And for me, it was appearing as a survival mechanism. It's the do what you got to do to keep yourself safe, you know, stealing the swords from the other side so that you cannot be attacked with that weapon. There's in here this mountain in the background. This is the new Seven of Swords energy that is finding you. But it's still off into the distance. Right now, where you are, we're in these sixes. So 6 may be a number that's been coming up for you a lot recently. You're building bridges between connections of meaning. Yes, you're connecting the dots. Something about us as magical people. 5 of Tides to 4 of Branches. So 5 of Tides again, 5 of Cups was in the last reading. There's something about this turmoil. I'm like, is this 5 rocks along the ocean? Is this 5 boats? I can't tell. I don't know what is at risk in the storm, but all I see are the storm clouds above and the waves coming in. With all of this static electricity that's going on right now, you don't know how it's going to shake up, what's going to occur, how it's going to be birthed, but all you know is right now you have enough. You have a surplus of creative energy to call from as the time is right. You're not forcing anything. You're not panic buying. You're not panic harvesting. You're not taking any more than you need. Because you're in this emotional maturity. You're walking out, and this could be the same rocks that are inside this storm. In terms of the balanced pace you have now can weather what it is that's coming in. This static electric energy, this vertical movement. And with this 3 of Stones, 2 of Stones, the World, the Hierophant, it may feel like it's working backwards, but it's actually working to the beginning of everything. And the shape that these cards are forming also feels relevant. You can connect this with Cassiopeia. I also connect this with the Avalon. And in the reading that I had done yesterday, I believe it was, this yellow, it was with the Hanged Man, the Sun, and then caged with the Hermit. There's something illuminating within you. Again, that spark that is starting now. Perhaps that is tied with the Hierophant energy. Perhaps that's tied to your spiritual practice or trying to build spiritual practice with others. You're inside the labyrinth, building your foundations. 31 breaks down to a 4. 42 is a 6. Interesting. Between the 4 and the 6 is the 2. And I know that I'm just doing like addition and subtraction right now. But from the foundations, you are yearning and earning to build, to construct. You are currently in this safe pace of a 6 because you have this birth of creativity within you, regardless, one way or another. You're not worried about having an ace. You're not worried about having to restart with something new onto your foundation, putting you in a 5 of conflict. That's not an issue. You know that you are jumping from 4 to 6 because you've done so much work through 5s previously in the past. It's like how your 7s aren't going to be as challenging. This divine, kind of like 7s I potentially can see as tower energy, a balance between tower and divine connection with spirit. It's being a magical person in a supposedly secular world. Okay. This is short, 1222, but this is for the 444 collective, and so this will be available on Substack. You're only seeing this if you are on Substack. Suddenly all of my energy is feeling very low as a white bird flies very high. Oh, and turns around and goes zoom low. That's the first bird that has left my field of sight going down. And so thinking with my energy as well coming down, we can't be inspired full stop 24/7 without having room for rest and pace. And you know that it's like having a Word document with half of the things scripted, and you know it's saved, you know it's on your hard drive, you're not worried about losing the progress you've already made. You have you have a jumping off point. You have a jumping off point, which came through in a channeled message earlier this week and is on Substack, so you've seen this. Unless you're watching from the future, in which case, scroll back a little. Okay, my energy is getting kind of mushy, so I'm going to call it. Thank you for being here and being a part of the 444 collective. It really means a lot to be finding, or I guess like magnetizing, joining with. I don't know. I feel like the 444 collective is kind of like these little guys. We're just slowly coming in from different places and learning how to huddle together. So I'm very grateful that you're here. I know I haven't done many readings recently that are just for the 444 collective, but it's been odd times and it's coming. Okay. I will leave this here. Thank you and stay tuned.